It's time for Transformers.
More than meets the eye.
What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is sponsored by Ridge Wallet. More on that later, but right now, I want to talk about Transformers. Returning to the action and spectacle that have captured moviegoers. I'm not gonna read it like that. This film takes audiences on a 90s globetrotting adventure with the Autobots and introduces a whole new faction of the Transformers, the Maximals, to join them as allies in the existing battle for Earth. Starring Anthony Ramos, Dominic Fishback. And it's rated PG-13 for intense sequences of sci-fi action, violence, language, the typical things that we expect in a Transformers movie, maybe not as overboard as a Michael Bay Transformers movie, because this is directed by Stephen Caple Jr. We know him most likely from Creed 2, but he's also directed some TV miniseries episodes and some music videos. Before we continue with this video, I want to talk about today's sponsor, and I have a question for you. Are you trying to buy a last-second Father's Day gift? Because I often do that. I do that every year. Every dad needs a wallet, and every wallet, it feels like, is just, it's plain and it's boring. If you stuff it full, it's too bulky, and if you have it too long, it looks like this. To be honest with you, these things are outdated.
See you, chump.
And since it's almost Father's Day, out with the old, in with the new. That's why today we are talking about Ridge Wallet. My Ridge Wallet is forged carbon with a matte finish. It's scratch resistant, and there's a lifetime warranty. Not only are you ditching the outdated look, but there are so many color schemes that range from Base Camp Orange to Forged Pacific. But those aren't the only ones. There are over 30 different colors. It's designed to protect you from digital pickpocketers, and it holds up to 12 cards, which is more than enough for me. With over 3 million customers, 50,000 5-star reviews, and you get to test drive it for 99 days. Why would you not at least try this incredible wallet? Also, while you're at it, you might as well get one of the Ridge key cases. It's easier and sturdier than what you would normally use, and it securely holds from 1 to 6 keys. If you're looking for that last-second gift, you can go to ridge.com/flickfans and get up to 40% off of your purchase. I'm just saying, that's pretty good. That's ridge.com/flickfans, and it's only through June 15th, so not a ton of time left. Let me tell you, while there's not this distinct style to this movie, and I'll start out on a note that's probably controversial. Michael Bay's Transformers movies, do I want to do this? Look, I have nostalgia for the first 3. I will fully admit that. I think the first one is actually a good movie. I think the third one is a little underrated, even though I did miss Megan Fox in that film. The other ones are, how do I put this? Bad?
Boo this man!
Especially 4 and 5. I had a physical reaction to, I believe, 4, 5. I don't remember. They all blend together. It's all one film. This whole review is just an audition for me to get a voiceover role in the next Is it working?
Calm down.
As bad as those movies are, and as bad as the style is in the 4th and 5th film, I look at the first 3 and I'm like, those movies had a very distinct style to where, the camera angles and the shots, just the way it's made and presented, it feels different from other blockbusters of that era. And, say what you will about those movies, I do like that. And I like the look of those films. And I like the fact that they aren't presented like your standard 2007 blockbuster, at least talking about the first one. It stood out for many reasons. Now, they had some great source material to work off of, and I think they do a nice job in the first and third film. If you don't remember, the second movie, I believe, was right around the writer's strike time, and oh my God, it's happening again. What kind of blockbusters are we going to get during this writer's strike? I don't want to think about it. Then you get to 4 and 5, it's just like, what happened with the story there? You have nothing to blame it on. Bumblebee kind of brought things back just a little bit, and that was the start of what this new universe hopefully could be, and I think Bumblebee is probably the best mixture of quality, acting, a direction. Travis Knight is a really good director. I really like the way that movie was presented. So I look at this film, and while not as slick as Bumblebee and a bit less style, I still think Caple Jr. did a nice job presenting the story, and I think he did a nice job, bringing in these actors, and Anthony Ramos especially, who kind of carries this movie. There's an emotional story to his character involving his brother that was nice. I think it could have been explored a bit more, but at the same time, I did want less humans in this movie. And that's the one thing I feel about all of these films. Less humans, more Transformers. And, even though the stories aren't the worst, didn't really give Dominique Fishback a lot of build-up. There are things her character has to do in this movie involving, crazy special technology. And I'm like, how does she know how to do that? And there are things that other characters do in this movie. And I'm like, how does this, It feels rushed in a way, but at the same time, I don't think the movie should have been longer. How does that make sense?
I am so confused.
I also look at the dialogue in this film as a very clear issue at times. And there are some one-liners, and I always talk about one-liners like they're a bad thing. I talked about it in my Flash review a little bit with Michael Keaton. And in here, it reminded me, even the delivery, there's a line where someone goes, "But he's not alone." And I was like, oh, that reminded me of this scene.
She's not alone.
And I'm sure there are countless other examples of that same line being delivered in the exact same way, but the way it was presented here felt a little too on the nose, too cliche for me, and, there are more than a few examples of that. Then you have Optimus Prime kind of spouting out the same type of dialogue that he spouted out before, but there's more of an internal conflict with Prime, or Optimus Prime, in this movie to where, he's kind of trying to figure out, I know humans, do I trust him at this point? I mean, it's still, it's in the 90s, so it's before a couple of things happen. You're like, Optimus Prime has a clear goal and motive in mind in this movie, and he's still not entirely sure if humans can be trusted, and that kind of carries over from Bumblebee, which I like, and, a lot of the other Transformers involved here, they have this compassion, well, mostly compassion for humans, humankind. And that's the same story with all of the Transformers movies, but for some reason, I like the way the writing handled that in this film, maybe a bit more than a lot of the other Transformers movies, and I felt that conflict and the fact that our main character, his views and goals kind of reflect how Optimus feels about the Transformers. Well, his views towards humanity and protecting them, it's the same concept. So they draw that comparison in the movie, and I'm like, okay, well, they're giving it a bit more attention, which I did not expect in this movie. I said that kind of sarcastically. The tone of my voice is that way because I didn't really, I don't know, the trailers just didn't do it for me. I love seeing the Maximals on the big screen. I love seeing the Beast Wars storyline come to fruition. That is all really cool, but at the same time, I just couldn't get hyped for another Transformers movie. Maybe it's because I loved Bumblebee and I wanted kind of a direct sequel to that, but they didn't go in that direction. Then the other Transformers sequels past the third film just turned me off so much. I mean, they're bad movies, right? So I just didn't have the hype for this, and I don't think a lot of people have the hype for it. I don't think it's going to do all that great at the box office, but I watched this movie, and I'm like, yeah, it's solid. It's not great. It's a serviceable Transformers film, but it's so much better than the bad Transformers movies. I'm going to encourage a lot of people to go out and see this because there's fun to be had, right? Is it one that I'm probably going to forget about in a couple of months? Like, did that really happen in this movie? I feel like this is going to be one of those blockbusters, but that doesn't make it bad. And it doesn't make an experience not worth having in a theater because when the Autobots and the Maximals and the Decepticons are all going at it, this big battle sequence, which could have used more visual flair, I will fully admit that, but it was really fun. And there are some nice surprises in the midst of those moments, the third act specifically. While the visual style wasn't the best, I felt like some of the moments with the characters and the Autobots and the Maximals, they were able to overcome that lack of style. And it's presented well. I mean, the CGI is really, really good. I'm just talking more about the camera placement, the camera movement, and, the color scheme of the entire thing. But a lot of people, they're going to go watch this in the theater. They're not going to care as much about that. And if that's the case, you're going to have a great time with this movie. I genuinely believe that. And the story is simple. That's not a bad thing. It's not overly convoluted. There aren't 17 things going on like with a couple of these Transformers. There's too much happening, right? Not in this movie. It's simple. It's one mission. In a way, it kind of feels like a rebooted-ish storyline of Transformers 2. Like it's the same, but it's different. Same, but different. And it's better.
So good.
The one voice that everybody's going to be talking about, obviously, you have Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. Peter Dinklage is in this film as Scourge. Michelle Yeoh. John DiMaggio, which was awesome to see. It's Pete Davidson as Mirage. And that's kind of the divide that I've seen. It's like, Pete Davidson, he's annoying. And, for me, I'm just so neutral on Pete Davidson. I see him like, how is he? And then I see him in other moments and I'm like, yeah, he's funny. But sometimes I'm like, how? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
But you know what? I hate to admit it. It started out a little annoying, but as it went on, I'm like, I actually like this character. I actually think Mirage is a pretty fun character. What do you want me to say? Before I give you my score, I want to say thanks again to Ridge Wallet for sponsoring this video. And if you want to drop a thumbs up in the down there, you want? No, that's weird. Rise of the Beasts is a simple but fun blockbuster. While the battle sequences could use more style, they're solid, and this entry feels tonally consistent throughout. Toolies are good, but the Autobots and Maximals shine. I wish they had more screen time. That being said, it was better than I thought it was going to be again. Is it great? I wouldn't say that, but it's a fun time in the theater, and I think it's worth supporting, and there's something at the end that just got me really hyped. I'm not going to say what it is, but if it got you hyped, leave a comment saying, I'm hyped, because we all know why if we've seen the movie. But that got me pretty excited. That's what she said. I'll see you soon.